Hello and welcome to episode number 15 of our podcast, Welcome to Livingston. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela.
And we just like to say hi to everyone out there that's listening today. We have a great episode today. We are very excited to have Mt Brighton join us. Mike Giorgio, the general manager of Mt Brighton, is here with us today. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, we're just happy to have you here. And, we talk all about Livingston County on this podcast all the time, and what a unique opportunity we have to talk to you today because Livingston County has its own mountain. We have our own ski resort.
Hill,
so,
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that is very special.
Yeah.
And we recognize that.
No, yeah. Well, thanks for having us. We're excited to come out and talk about Mt Brighton and everything we have to offer to the community.
Yeah. So I guess the best place to start out is just tell us a little bit about Mt Brighton because I'm sure most people know that it's there, but you can see it from the freeway.
Sure.
But at the same time, just everyone out there, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah. So Mt Brighton has been a part of this community. Actually, this year is the 60th anniversary for Mt Brighton, which we're super excited to celebrate. And it's been a huge part of the community, obviously, and especially bringing in new skiers and riders to the sport. And in 2013, late 2013, it was acquired by Vail Resorts. During that process, they went through a number of upgrades and doing all different types of facility upgrades and snowmaking upgrades. And so where we're at right now is, we're really just trying to produce the best snow that we possibly can with this amazing snowmaking technology we have. And, our big focus always is to try and introduce the sport to new folks, especially young riders and skiers, give them a little taste of what it's like to be part of the ski community and learn, and then hopefully develop them into lifelong skiers and riders.
How fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us, how many lifts, how many runs? What's sort of the mix?
Yeah, so we have 5 aerial lifts, so like chair lifts that you actually get on. We have 5 tow ropes, which is what I'm learning is a very unique Midwest thing to a lot of the resorts out here, and a few what we call surface lifts, which is essentially like magic carpets.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then throughout that, I mean, there's we have 24 runs or trails, and it's a good mix of there's about 5 or so green trails, which is like your beginner trail, and then we have about 10 or so, we have about 10 or so that are somewhere, blue, and then going gradually up into the black, and then we have 2 overall that are double black diamonds on the back side of the hill.
Always on the back side of the hill.
Always on the back side of the hill, yeah. So you tend to find out that in ski resorts, a lot of the really tougher terrain is the stuff you can't see. So
yes. you don't want to scare the people before they start off.
That's, yes, good point.
But it's great to have that available. So that way those advanced skiers have options and have things that they can do at Mt Brighton.
Yeah, no, it's so important for for folks who want to progress through the sport to really have that kind of option, or people who've been doing it forever to come and be able to, have a wide variety of terrain. I've been in the sport my entire life, and some of my favorite runs are still green and blue runs. Just because it's not a black diamond doesn't mean it's not fun. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's fun to just enjoy the run and not have to work as hard.
Yeah, absolutely. We refer to those as cruisers in the industry. So if you're just cruising, that means you're just kind of going along, taking some easy gradual turns and not having to put too much effort into it.
Right. And I guess I didn't realize that tow ropes were such a Midwest thing. So the ones you have, are they the ones you actually grab the rope, or do you have the bars?
Oh, no, you grab the rope. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we learned.
Yeah.
We were young.
There are, like T-bars are typical as well. And, you'll see those. Tow ropes exist in the East Coast. They exist in a lot of places, but it is unique in the Midwest that when you go to a resort in the Midwest, they always have tow ropes.
Right. Well, that's such a great spot, as Angela said, for those beginners. Yeah. And it being here in Brighton and Livingston County, what a wonderful thing to have right in your backyard, that you don't have to drive 2-3 hours to go skiing.
Right.
You can get out of school at the end of the day and, be at the hill in 10, 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another extremely unique thing to the Midwest is night skiing. So a lot of these individuals, kids who are going to school, they get out at 3:00 and they can go ride, take a lesson, ski. They could go to the terrain park, and we stay open till 9:00, which is not something you get at bigger mountains out west or East Coast really at all. So it's an awesome opportunity for people to have something to do after school.
Absolutely, that, especially since it gets dark so early.
Yeah.
That night skiing is really kind of a special experience for those.
Right. I know we have 3 kids, and we'll talk about their skiing experience in a bit, but they all started young. And I know our daughter, her big thing is she loves to go out night skiing.
Yeah.
And it's just, like you said, it's that unique experience. It's a whole different feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I wanted to make sure to mention one thing about her, just in case we don't get to it. As our boys who are older were learning to ski, and I had her out at 1 year old, waiting at the bottom of the ski hill for her brothers to come on down. We had her in these toy skis, and she would scoot and get in line in the chairlift, and I'd pick her up and plop her off at the other end again, and she'd just do it over and over.
That's
so
great.
but she was so mad that I'd move her. But by the time she was 2, she was ready and willing to go. And when we would finish at the end of the day and say, honey, we have to go in, she was all upset and thought, because she was so little, but it's like, no, we're tired.
Yeah,
she would
that's
out-ski
right.
us. So.
Teaching someone to ski is very tiring.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But it's awesome to see that kind of excitement. I have 2 kids as well, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, both boys, and they've been on both skis and boards since about 18 months old.
That's fantastic, especially for both to be so proficient.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit easier just to throw them on skis because there's not as much as involved. You could kind of maneuver them a little bit easier and pick them up and go as you need. And then the snowboarding thing comes, I think, once they get a little bit more used to just being on snow. So that was kind of the our loose philosophy on it.
This is true. But it's great that they can do both.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's a good thing for people out there listening. They're never too young to get on skis. Now, did you harness or did you put between the legs?
So to start off, we started on the magic carpet, really, right? So that's always the best place to go because you can literally just be, standing. You don't have to be on skis or on a snowboard, right? You could just be standing alongside of them, and they go on the magic carpet. It's a short little ride. It's only 10 meters or at most, right? And then by the time you get to the top, there's a little gradual slope, and you can just kind of walk by them as they're going down, or the ski instructor, whoever may be doing it. And then as they develop that skill, certainly once we went onto lifts and got up to something a little bit more where there's other folks around and you just want to be a little bit more safety conscious, we used the harness. Yeah, so my 5-year-old tends to be on a harness, or at least something that I can control him with.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want him careening out.
No,
we use the harness for all of ours too. It really came in handy.
Yeah.
So I guess the next question I wanted to ask, with you guys, you're going to be making snow here in the next week or 2, hopefully.
Hopefully.
What's new this year at Mt Brighton?
Yeah, so specifically at Mt Brighton, we're in this process of renew, I guess is the best way to put it, right? After everything that's happened over the past 18 months and all the restrictions on skiing and everything, we're just happy to be renewing ourselves back into a place where, we're opening up capacity. We're back to full capacity. We're loading all of our lifts to full capacity.
Great. That's awesome.
It is so great. Absolutely. It's great.
It makes those lines a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, we've learned a lot about loading capacities, which is one of the new things. We've spent a tremendous amount of time company-wide, looking at best practices for loading so that we can make it as efficient for the guest. A lot of our focus is on guest experience. And so this year, doing things like taking away the reservation system so you can just show up, especially if you're a pass holder, you just show up and go right to the lift and you're good to go. The capacity limits being gone. And we're doing some other things, like we're implementing a new reservation system for dining. So we have this kind of mentality that lodges are for everyone, skiing is for everyone, right? This is this whole idea of epic for everyone. And so with what we're doing is we're implementing this reservation system called Time to Dine, which allows you to go in the day before you arrive and make a reservation so you have a place to eat or a place to warm up or just a place to sit and have a cup of coffee, right? And, there's that, I think a lot of people in the Midwest and the East are used to kind of that old school mentality where you show up in the morning and you boot up and you stuff all your stuff under a table, plug in your crock pot and then leave for the day. And, although, that works for some folks, it limits what we can do for others. So, that there might be those high volume times where somebody can't find a place to eat. They can't find a seat because there's stuff all over the place. Right. And so what we're doing is we're really trying to make sure that everybody has a place to eat when they want to eat. So if you walk in with your 3 kids who are starving, or you're starving because you've been out on the slopes trying to teach them how to ski, when you walk in, you're going to have a place to sit. You're going to have enough time in a safe, clean environment to eat or just to rest. So those are some of the bigger things we're really excited about. And then, of course, I can't say it enough, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary.
Yes, that is amazing.
That's huge.
Yeah. And then, one other, we did do a trail expansion on the back of the mountain. So that's right underneath Lift 5. We just expanded a trail a little bit beyond the lift towers just to give a little bit more room. And so, we're super excited. And we got a couple new snow guns and some other stuff like infrastructure stuff like that coming along. So
cool. Man, I imagine it's going to be just a fantastic season.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot to be excited about for sure.
Now, for someone that's thinking of coming out and skiing, or they've skied in the past and they say, hey, I want to get back into this. I wanted to make sure to talk about season passes, and then rentals being a big thing of being able to get out there and do that. Could you talk to us a little bit about the rental process?
Yeah, absolutely. So another new thing this year is we've moved to 100% online rentals. So you can pretty much plan your entire day before you show up. You can have your lift tickets purchased. You can do all your rentals online, so it's ready to go when you show up. And and then on top of that, you can book your lunch as well. But the rental process is relatively streamlined. Really, we want to make it as easy as for everyone as possible. And continued learnings throughout COVID is, we don't want you to have to spend any more time around crowds or indoors. Just so folks feel safe, so they feel like they don't have to stand in long lines. So you can go online, book your package. You get, it comes with a helmet, comes with all the things you need to be safe. And then you show up and show a barcode and pick up your stuff, get fitted, and you're out on the slopes, and it's really quick.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned the helmets. I think it's so great that so many people are wearing helmets nowadays. I'm in my mid to late 40s, and when I first started skiing, nobody wore a helmet. And when we had kids, I was like, okay, everybody's wearing a helmet. So,
right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think right now the average is somewhere about 70. I think the last time we did it was 78% of all skiers or snowboarders are wearing helmets now. Where when I started, nobody wore them. So
right.
it's the attention to safety is it's absolutely paramount for any ski resort, especially for us. Here at Brighton or as a company, it's the most important thing for us.
Right. Now, I know that snowboarding is obviously very popular, and it's picked up popularity quite a bit in the last 20, 25 years.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about your board park and what kind of things you have for that?
Yeah. So we have 2 terrain parks that are right next to each other. One that we kind of call like the big park and the small park. Again, like that idea of progression. It's not just for snowboarders. It's very much for skiers or snowboarders. We do, there's this whole mentality around, that it's kind of can be a place of contention around a ski resort. But, I think we make a big effort to kind of, make everybody feel welcome at Mt Brighton, whether you're in the terrain park or not. And so one of the things we've been doing is we spent an extra amount of time in there with safety, and we have park crew in there, right? And a lot of things that we focus on is setting the example for the folks that are enjoying the terrain park and making sure that safety is always top of mind, being respectful to the others around you, helping, right? It's a community effort.
Right.
And so it's super important. And then, you have this huge amount of professionals that come out of the Midwest. I don't know if you know this, and a lot of it is due to the whole idea of the rope tow, because you can hit the park, right? You can hit the rails or the jumps or whatever, be at the bottom, grab the tow rope, and be back up to the top in like 30 seconds, and then just keep doing it. You know, what we refer to as hot laps, running hot laps in the park or something like that.
Right.
My idea of hot laps is getting out early in the morning when no one else is around and just carving up some nice corduroy or something like that.
First tracks is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it's an important part of our business, and we have an immense amount of staff that are very passionate about the terrain park.
Wow. And do you guys have, a couple years ago, we noticed when we were skiing and such, do you guys have the big feet, the mini skis?
We don't rent those.
Okay.
No. There's another thing that's a little bit contentious around the ski industry there. Now you're seeing all different types of things, right? Like the big feet, the snow skates, the snow bikes now even. We've been allowing snow bikes at a lot of our resorts. It's really big in the Midwest. It's coming on. The snow, the snow skates, as they call them or whatever, we don't see too many of them. We don't rent them or do anything like that. And there is a limit on size. I don't recall how many centimeters they have to be. Gotcha. But there is a limit to it. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Which it's fascinating that there's just so much innovation in the snow industry. Yeah. You know, that people just like getting out there, having fun, and trying new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so in terms of the schools and the programs, as you guys partner with those, do you want to share some of that?
Yeah. So I mean, I think a lot that we do with local schools are, we support them in their racing, and that's the biggest thing I think that comes to mind. We set up all the whether it's slalom or if it's just alpine downhill. And we assist them we work with the coaches. Our ski and ride school works with the coaches to set up times and set up, make sure all the gates are set up, make sure that all the ropes there, safety, we groom out, we spend an immense amount of time just making sure that they have the best possible area to train and to race and to compete. That's what we do with a lot of the snow sports from that aspect. And then we also have a couple of outreach programs that we work with. So SOS is a skiing outreach program that focuses on impoverished or underprivileged neighborhoods throughout the metro area, Ann Arbor and Detroit, and anywhere beyond that, even some down in Chicago. And then also the National Brotherhood of Association, which is the oldest the oldest African American ski group in America, which is actually right out here in Michigan. They have Jim Dandy, which is a part of their program, and they bring same thing. They bring a number of students up and coordinate these programs multiple weekends throughout the year where kids can be exposed to this sport, learn about it, take lessons, and
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're hitting on from the sort of expert skiers that are doing the races to the people that are just starting and that may not normally have that opportunity to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I those programs do an immense amount of work, right? And we just do what we can to support them by giving them space and setting up some, package deals and stuff like that. But really the folks that run those programs they're absolutely phenomenal.
Awesome.
And then I know you guys do lessons to help prep for racing as well, right?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a number of different types of lessons. We have group lessons that you could do, like half-day group lessons where you go out with a group and learn the basics, and that goes all the way up to advanced. And then we have privates, which are, typically for somebody who just wants a little bit more attention to what they're trying to learn. And then we also do like multi-week, where you can hey, I'm gonna do a lesson once every Saturday for the next few weeks or whatever it may be. And so there's a little bit of everything out there, and it's for all levels, right?
Fabulous. I mean, very versatile.
Yeah.
People can really find whatever it is that they need for their own, ski skills or their own interest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even if you're an expert skier, you can still learn more. So
100%.
Yeah,
always.
absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things we wanted to be sure to mention is that Cold is Cool program is a really cool resource.
Yeah.
It comes out of, it's
MSIA.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get this right. Michigan Snow Sport Industries Association is, I believe, what it's called. It's MSIA. So they are actually just had a meeting with them last week. They were introducing myself. It was very exciting. So we have this program. They have this program that's Michigan wide, and essentially it allows fourth and fifth graders. Fourth and fifth graders to participate in their passport program, where they can go to different various mountains resorts throughout the Michigan, and they get some free days. And in a lot of places, they also get discounted rentals and in some cases some discounted lessons as well.
And I think that's
which we do offer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that you guys participated in it, and that's always something that I was amazed by, because since that kind of fourth and fifth graders, just great years to start kids in skiing.
Absolutely.
And here it's almost, I always thought of this group as kind of the, Winter Sports Tourism Bureau of Michigan in a way, but to ski free. And I've told so many people over the years about it, and it's exciting to think of these kids all getting into skiing.
Absolutely.
Learning.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's a lifelong sport. And no matter, we ski up north, and, I see people in their 70s and their 80s going down the hill.
Yeah.
And that's just such an amazing thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is amazing. Right. And, I lived in Vermont for close to 11 years prior to moving here. And that's, I worked at a resort out there. So the range of folks that I see skiing and snowboarding, it always amazes me. And it's important to remember, we're talking a lot about, early learning, right? Bringing people in at a young age or while they're in school. But it's important to remember that the sport's for everybody. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You could come in and get a lesson and learn and fall in love with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Exactly. And it's different that what I would say is skiing is different for an individual at every stage and every age of their life. So,
right.
When I was younger, I was a much more aggressive skier than I am now. Yeah. So, like my sons and my daughter, they like jumping. Yep. And they're like, Dad, can you jump? And I jumped one week, and I'm like, no, Dad can't do this anymore.
Yeah. And then you had to rest for a full day.
That's right. I was like, I hit the first one in my back. I was like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea.
But the skiing's no problem.
The skiing is no problem. I'm still better than them. I'm thinking that maybe this year or next year, one of them is going to cross over and be better than me. But it is wonderful.
Well, and it's a great thing that people can do as a family, or to your point, whether you're young or older or whatever, it's something for anybody. And when you live here in Michigan and you live in Livingston, the snow is just part of life, where it's coming, it's going to get here. So why not just embrace it and enjoy it and be outside? When you have a coat that's warm enough, so it's not a matter of like you have a junky coat so you're cold, when you're warm enough and you can be out and how beautiful it is. This is such a great opportunity.
Yeah. And I would say that fourth and fifth grade program, one of the things I hear from people who don't ski is they think it's way more expensive than it actually is. Yeah. And the expense does not have to be a barrier to entry. Right. Everyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a number of programs out there that can help people, right? And then, it's rentals is a great way to get acclimated. And there's ski swap programs that we hold where people get to, can purchase like someone else's older equipment.
We were actually at your ski swap this year.
Yeah. So, and that was put on by the ski patrollers that work at Mt Brighton, and they're a great group of folks. But yeah, I think that it's so important. Like, you hear the phrase like somebody will give you your shirt off your back. I think in this industry, like people will give their skis off their feet to you if that means that you can go out and have some fun. So it's I think there is definitely this kind of and I think it's important to call out, like, it can be a very expensive sport, right? Like, it's a lot to take on, but I think one of the things that we're so focused on is changing that, right? And making sure, like, again, with this Epic for Everyone program, like, hey, let's reset here, right? And so this past year, we kind of looked at everything and we said, let's look at our pass prices and kind of reset, right? So, not only did we offer, did we reduce our pass prices by 20%?
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's not like a one-time kind of this year, let's grab them while we can. that's a reset. We're starting there, and the whole point of that is to make it a little bit easier for everybody. And then that's why we offer a wide variety of different programs, because, you know, an all-day private lesson can get expensive, but a half-day group lesson for a beginner is a lot more affordable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would say, you know, to people out there that are thinking of getting into the sport or having multiple kids that are thinking of getting into the sport, those ski swaps are a great thing.
Absolutely.
And then remember that set you're getting for your oldest kid gets passed down to the kid that's a little bit younger. And then you're working your way through all of that when you get to the end of it, you're like, oh my gosh, where did all this ski equipment come from?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and then there's also other options too, right? Where there's like seasonal rentals.
Yes.
So you can get a seasonal rental because, you know, kids grow fast, and you spend, you know, some money on a pair of skis this year, they might not be able to ski on them next year. So those seasonal rentals go a long way as well to kind of help mitigate some of the cost.
Yep. Wonderful. So I know we were talking about racing and such. Do you guys have the NASTAR program there then?
Yep, we do. We have Accelerate NASTAR, and we pretty much have everything. We participate in all of the different racing competitions.
Okay. Yeah, and to all those people out there, I know our daughter likes the NASTAR more than our older ones did, but being able to go and compete for those times and get the pins for her bronze or her silver or gold and such is a big deal to her. And for those people out there, you know, once you join one of those programs, when you come in on the weekends or the NASTAR is going on, you just go up there and let them know that you're in the program, and they have your number or your name, and you're competing against the times that you already had.
Yes.
So you can see your progression.
Not competing against other people necessarily.
Right.
You get to compete against yourself.
Yeah, it's self-motivating, I believe, like doing that kind of thing, and not, you know, it pushes you, but it also, you know, I think competitive sports are important. I think it's really good for you know, especially around team, but I think there's also something about challenging yourself. I think you get I think it motivates people a little bit more when they know they're fighting against themselves and trying to beat themselves, you know?
Right,
Like
exactly.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
it definitely motivates me, you know, like, I mean, I you know, spent a lot of my earlier years in the park and like the terrain park, and you know, like that's something you can just do by yourself. And like every time you do something, just get better, or your technique gets a little bit cleaner, or it looks a little bit better, your landing was better, whatever it may be. So I think that kind of stuff that's one of the things I love, you know, about skiing and riding, is it's something that you can do by yourself and have this kind of moment of serenity and peaceful quiet early in the morning, or you could do it with a group of 10 people and have the best time of your life. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. So here we are, mid-November.
Yes.
I know a lot of people don't know exactly how snowmaking works. So how cold does it have to get for you guys to start laying some snow down at night?
Yeah. So that's So that's there's a variable. There's a lot of variables to that. You know, essentially, the best way to explain it is that, you know, the temperature 28 degrees is thrown out a lot, right? Or just freezing is thrown out a lot. And that's not really how it works, unfortunately. We have to really take into account humidity as well. So there's this concept called the wet bulb temperature, if you've ever heard of it. And that's basically a way of looking at the relative humidity percentage and the temperature. And then based on where those two things are at, it'll kind of, you'll be able to figure out where your snowmaking ability is. So for example, it could be 28 degrees out, but the relative humidity could be 90. And in that situation, it is not going to be okay to make snow.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So, and there's a variable, right? There's like ideal, and then there's marginal, right? And then there's like, you're just shooting water into the air. So like you have to be, So, you know, the process is pretty cool though. You know, we used, a lot of our snowmaking guns are fan guns. So instead of using air compression, they spin a high powered fan that pushes the air, and then the water goes through the nozzles around the outside of it and essentially atomizes. And once you get those tiny little pieces of water floating in the air, they typically, what you need to do for snow to form is the water needs to attach to a particulate. So it's like, it could be dust in the air, right? That's how snow forms. And so that process is, that's how we do it, right? And people use the words artificial or fake snow. It's not fake snow; it's real snow.
Right.
It's made the same way nature makes it. It's just that it's human made, right? As opposed to natural.
And it's a little snow globe over there. So like all of a sudden they're making snow, and it's like you've got a half-mile winter wonderland.
Yeah. No, and when you're in that right, when you're in that right temperature, you can just go. We'll light up. We'll turn on. We have 60 guns across the resort, and we will just light everything up, and we'll go as much as we can. Water is super important. We have plenty of that. We have about an 18 million gallon snowmaking pond, and then a bunch of pumps that pump all that throughout the entire mountain. But really, what it comes down to is, there's a lot to it. It's not just temperatures and typically, if the ground is still soft, that makes a big difference, because you can blow all the snow you want, but if it's just hitting mud and it doesn't have
a great point,
it's just gonna
need a little bit of a frost line.
Yeah. So I mean, that's ideal. Like, again, if the ground's not totally frozen, but it's 20 degrees out, we can make some great snow. And eventually you'll get there, but snow also insulates. It also keeps the heat in the ground too. So there's just so much to it than just like looking at temperature and saying, you should make snow. Because that's I would love that to be the answer. Trust me, because we're go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say that it's just, you guys have 60 guns. I've seen in the past where in 3-4 days, you guys go from having no snow to you're open.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which, do you have a target date you're hoping for?
Yeah, so our target right now is December 3rd. That's our target opening date. And we are cautiously optimistic to hit that date. One of the things we're looking at as well is we don't have to just open everything. Like, if we can just open a little bit and have 1 or 2 lifts, and maybe there's not some of the ancillary businesses available for folks, we can still spin some lifts and get some early turns in. So we're looking at a lot of different things. We're trying to be as creative as possible to really get open as soon as possible and stay open with minimal interruptions. Again, though, it's we can do everything we can do. It's really up to Mother Nature, unfortunately.
Right. Yep.
Which always is the case.
Yeah. I wish I could control it, because I assure you, we want to be open. We want to be making snow. Like, I'd open tomorrow if we could. But,
right.
It's just a lot of consideration.
Yep. And I know the big, huge part of your business is the snow and is the skiing and such. But I know you guys used to have a golf course, but you got rid of the golf course.
Yeah.
And I know you guys had the mountain biking down the hill.
Yep.
Do you guys still have that, or?
No, we don't. I mean, the easy answer there is we've really tried to focus on our main, we're getting back to the core. We're getting back to the basics, right? So that's the best way to pay. And really focusing on our core business is really our intent here. And obviously, going through COVID, there was a number of issues. So yeah, the golf course isn't open, and that was a tough decision, I know. But ultimately, it allowed us more time to be on the hill for preparation and do things like this trail expansion, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the thing about mountain biking is it probably won't come back. A lot of that is due to it deteriorates the mountain.
I can understand that.
Yeah. So every time you have to build a dirt park or something like that, then you have to go back and you have to reform it. And throughout the whole summer with all the rain, you're getting erosion, and then you have to reseed it because you need that grass to hold, so there's not as much erosion.
Right. So the whole point is, with that, you can make the mountain a little bit better every year.
Sure. Yeah.
And focus on the skiing then,
right.
which is what it's about.
And then that team, no, either way. Yeah. I still say skiing, even though I'm a snowboarder.
Well, and that's such an interesting thing that I think a lot of the kids today don't understand. When I started snowboarding, they didn't want us on the hill.
No.
And there was a lot of hills that didn't allow us on the hill.
There's still some that don't.
Right. But now I think it's such a great community that they all support each other. Sure. I never see that animosity between skiers and snowboarders anymore. Everyone is so polite to each other, and everyone's just out there having fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there was always this stigma around snowboarders, and it's things that are different can be a little bit scary to other folks. I think it's you're a snowboarder, I'm a snowboarder. And I think as like snowboarders aged into, now we're the ones that have kids. So,
Right.
so we're out, and we're it's definitely there's way more balance to it than there used to be.
Right.
Certainly.
Yeah. Nope. And I will be on a snowboard for the first time in how many years this year?
It's been a little while.
It's been a little while. So no, I gave it up and went to skiing, and our middle son Colin wants to do it this year, and I told him I would teach him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I'll see how I handle that.
Well, I definitely, if you haven't been on your board in a long time, I definitely recommend taking a look at some of the newer ones, because technology is light years ahead of where it was even 5 years ago for a lot of skis and snowboards. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. Well, we really love that you've had a chance to come in and talk to us.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
people want more information about Mount Brighton and what you guys have going on now, how can they find out?
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do is just go to mountbrighton.com, and you'll have all your answers are right there. You can also email at Mount Brighton info. That's mtbrightoninfo@valeresorts.com, or you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Mount Brighton.
Great.
Yeah.
How awesome. Well, we're excited for another great season there, and I think it's going to be fantastic for you guys.
Yeah.
And we love having you.
No, we just love having you. So for everyone out there, please check them out. Check the show notes to find out how to contact them as well. Obviously, like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our podcast, find it on everywhere that you find podcasts. And we're just so happy to have you here today. We want everyone to check out Mount Brighton. Take a day and go try skiing, because it is an amazing sport. You get to be outdoors. You're going to bundle up. It is not as cold as you think it is. It is fun. It is so much fun, and you can get as much of a workout as you want.
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
a great time. So again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And welcome to Livingston.
Yeah, thank you very much.